Welcome, everyone. Let everybody's audio connect and everybody's systems get fully turned on there, plugged into Zoom. But welcome. My name is Raul Lopez, and I am the Assistant Director for the North Metro SBDC. It's exciting to see you all here. And we're going to be welcoming Greg, the floor to him in just a minute here. But I just want to do a couple housekeeping things real quick here. If you could just please, as we're waiting a minute to let a few more people come in, just please in the chat, drop your name, your full name, your city and zip code of your business. And that'll help us to track attendance there, make sure we got you. And as the SBDC giving many free webinars and free consulting and a couple low-cost programs as well, it allows us to make sure that we're getting tracking for our grant funding and keep these things going for you guys there. So if you could drop your name first and last name and then the city and zip of your business in the chat, please go ahead and do that. And as I did just mention there, we do have free consulting. So for those that are not in our system yet, I will drop a link a little bit later for free consulting with a business coach, a small business development business coach. If you're not in our area, that's okay. I'll send you. I'll drop a link that you can look up the center in your area. So that it is region specific. And we'll get that to you as well. Other than that, if you have any questions that come up along the way, Greg is happy to answer questions right then and there on the spot, as long as it's relevant to what he's talking about in that moment. If it's something that's not super relevant, maybe just drop it in the chat, and we'll make sure that it gets addressed at some point in the talk here. But everybody has a little bit of different comfort with Zoom. So if you are somebody who likes to just blurt out a question, he said, go ahead and unmute yourself. Go ahead, feel free to say, hey, I have a question. If you're a hand raiser, you got that little wavy hand emoji, you can put that thing up. We'll call on you as well. And or if you prefer to just put it in the chat, you can do that too. So that's my piece. I'm going to turn it over here to Greg.
Okay, welcome everyone. Raul, you want to start the slides then?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks. So the webinar today is going to be exit planning and business succession. And we'll discuss how to exit your business to get its true value, how to exit plan, use of trusted advisors, lump or seller financing, and life after the sale. Okay, you can go to the next one. In here, he included my bio. So I've been a long time a financial advisor. Currently have offices in Boulder and in Fort Collins. And so I was 20 years with Morgan Stanley, then the last 18 with Raymond James. Okay, you can go to the next one. All right, so to start the presentation, I'll just go through different slides. And like he said, if you have any questions, bring them out. If not, I can answer what you need at the end, and then also have some bullet points that cover some of the stuff that we're going over. So the first one is selling a business is like running a marathon, planning. So you need to go through what lengthy process with obstacles, emotions, and the need to get rid of the business. Okay, the next one. So I'm totally ready to sell, but my business isn't. So go to the bottom here, Roll, even though if you go put a little arrow to that, or can I do that? You do that. There it is. Even though most business owners know they will exit one day, many don't do the necessary planning to create the value to sell. And when they're ready to sell, it may be too late. So like many people delay retirement planning, estate planning. Many people don't do wills. They don't prepare. You need to prepare and plan just like any other type situation. Next one, up on the left box, 52% of owners say they would like to exit within the next 5 years. One to the right, having a transition plan is important for myself and my business. 95% agree with that statement. A lot less strongly, 55% strongly agree. Then the one on the bottom left, what's at stake? Typical small business owner has 70, 80% of their net worth tied up in the company. So just a point there from what I've seen over my many years of being in business, be careful with concentration. It's great if your business does well for many, many years and you sell it and, you know, it provides you a good living. The problem I've seen for many businesses, they do well until things change and they have most of their net worth in one area. So a couple things there is diversify if you can, or also, you know, use all the different retirement plans that are available to small businesses. So you have other money outside of the plan of the business, like IRAs, simple plans, solo 401s, etc. And those kind of things can't be touched if the business were to fail or something dramatically happened to the person or who's running it. The bottom right, what owners do, 68% of business owners in Colorado are unfamiliar with their exit options. So on that, you know, what I would advise is, you know, speak with peers who've sold businesses or who are in your industry, talk to professionals, whether it be business brokers. So I'm glad to give you some contacts if that's ever a case. Investment advisors like myself who can tell you what you could do with the money, some options there, and also probably tax or possible legal help if that's needed. Any questions on anything? Okay, next slide, which is number 4. Top left, 68% of owners are unfamiliar with their exit options. 78% don't have a team of trusted advisors to assist with an exit plan. Like I said, that's something you need to consider. If you get to that point, it'll make it a lot smoother to get the business sold if that's your end goal. Like I said, business brokers, tax professionals, investment advisors, etc. To the right, top right, the bottom one, 65% have no documented exit plan. So I'd recommend writing it down as well as just like your goals or other things. So you have a plan. It can always change, of course, but at least that way you have a written plan to work off of. Kind of like you'd have a plan of here's how I'm going to grow the business, or here's how I'm going to bring in customers, etc. The bottom right, what owners do. The bottom one, and 48% of owners have no written personal financial plan. So not only do very few people have an exit plan for their business, they have no financial plan as far as to retire or to move forward with things. And also in looking, you know, very few people, only about 33% of people, as in comparison, actually have a will, which, you know, obviously everyone passes away, you know, just shows you need to plan and have your ducks in a row as you will. And next one, number 5. Top left, planning, like brushing, flossing, and eating your vegetables. Every business should have an exit plan in mind day one. If you you plan your exit at the time you start your business, the next time is now. And the big point there is the next line, because it's impossible to control the timing of an exit or the changes in circumstances that might precipitate it. So then one to the right, 51% of business owners are forced by events beyond their control. So in other words, there you got disability, divorce, departure of a key employee, disagreement with partners, death. I've added a few to tell you the economy can change drastically. I've been in this a long time. 9/11 devastated many small businesses. 08, 09, when we had the huge financial crisis, plus then real estate basically collapsed, which affected a lot of business owners that had real estate and their business. Tax law changes, always things are going on with the government, some good, some bad, some affect businesses positively, some affect them negatively. New competitor gets in your game, which can always happen, who may have stronger capital base to win than you. Changes in the rent, if you're renting space, can be a big factor. If you own, property taxes can go exorbitant, or insurance that can totally change your location, or you may have to move, which obviously changes where your customers come to see you. And then also a lot of business owners will sell the real estate along with it. And of course, the value of real estate is a huge factor. Currently, it's way up in most cases in Colorado, but that can change. It cycles just like the weather, the stock market, anything else. So those are just some extra factors to consider that happen in life, you know what I mean? So, okay, next slide roll, please. So this one be number 6. The owner of the business may not be ready to retire. So then down below there, many older business owners, for whatever reason, aren't willing to sell their companies. But business owners can go into declining without new ideas, new direction, new energy. So not selling the company can be risky. Too many things can go wrong as the owners continue. As I said, the different list. Also, you can add health issues with the spouse, co-workers, etc. So timing is everything in that respect. As far as always the best time to get rid of your business or sell it and move on is when the current and future performance looks good. Because if you wait till it cycles, then it's going to be a major, major difference in what the value of your business is. Because any buyer is going to be looking, well, what is he or she doing now with their business, the numbers, and then what's the future look like for that industry or that business that you have? Any questions or anything? Okay, go to the next, number 7, if you would, Rule. And y'all can see the slides okay?
Yeah, we can see them.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man. All right. 85, finding a perfect fit buyer for your business can take time. So down below, one of the challenges of selling a business can be finding an individual or company that appreciates its value and is a fit. So obviously a fit, you can get it done quicker and you can get a better price. Someone that knows or wants to be in that space. So middle thing down below, but there are so many issues that can affect the desirability: geographical, revenue, cash flow, employees, property lease, equipment leases, etc. So in the last line, business owners must be prepared to go through a process that can find buyers who seem truly interested and have the money to buy the business. So persevere. It's not an easy process, but it's rewarding if you can get the deal done. So number 8, roll, please. Buyers and sellers usually have a very different view of their business value. I mean, this happens with people selling their vehicle, happens selling their real estate, etc. The middle line down there, most business owners think their business should be priced more than it's worth, mainly because of all the whole hard work and time and the closeness of their business to them. Middle section, besides the various methods of business valuation, cash flow ultimately is one of the main ones. That's provide the new owner return on cash investment, ability to service the debt, and a reasonable salary for his key personnel. That's usually evaluate the business usually at 2 to 4x cash flow is just a guideline. Usually sellers ask too high, buyers usually too low. You got to be realistic, competitive on prices, and also realize like the longer it stays around for sale, it gets stale, which makes it tougher, and also usually take some kind of haircut on selling. So like your house or your car or any type thing, you're best to price it competitively if you're serious about selling it and moving on. Okay, number 9. Exit factor, the ones up on the top left. 52% of Colorado owners want to transition within the next 5 years. There's approximately 630,000 small businesses in Colorado. That equates to 328,000 businesses wanting to transfer ownership. Approximately 1.7, $1.8 billion is the value. Bottom right, exit factor. Determine current value. And I said projection of future value. Those are two big things that the prospective buyer will want to see. What it's worth now as business is going on today, here in March of 24, what they think it'll be in March of 25, March of 26, et cetera. That you can kind of sell the vision. Obviously, you never can predict the future, but that'll give you a good idea that you can show them to be able to sell it. Okay, number 10. Does the business generate enough cash flow to justify the price? Then the bottom, buyers will make an acquisition of a business only when it makes financial sense. The middle one, there are a few ways to make that justification, but in terms, the asset test is to compute the cash flow to cover debt service, salary of the owner, and return on investment. Like I said before, that's a big factor, what a prospective buyer will be looking for. Ballpark, again, I was saying is 2x to 4x cash flow is usually what they're valuing a business, unless it's a special situation. Number 11, business owners may have to finance to sell their business. Today's economy, obtaining financing for the sale of a business can be challenging. So obviously, I guess the good part of interest rates are up. People who have money can draw more on their money, but the negative is it makes it hard to borrow money. So right now, if you're doing, say, SBA, you're going through a bank, you're talking usually prime plus 2.5, which would put the lending around 10, 11% for someone to borrow from SBA, but that's pretty much guaranteed money. Obviously, the government's backing that money, so you will get paid. It's just expensive for the borrower to do it. Sometimes they balk at that kind of high rate. Couple other factors. The bottom line there, of course, there can be risks to seller financing, but there are also potential advantages, such as a higher sale price, greater pool of buyers, and easier closing prices. But right now, with interest rates up, seller financing is this bigger piece of the action because people are kind of balking at having to borrow at high rates. Roughly 37% of businesses are bought for cash. And then another factor to think about is seller financing. Some people get squeamish on that because they don't really want to do it, but usually the odds are only 5 to 10% of the seller financing go bad, because in most cases, when you do seller financing, the buyer puts up collateral, whether it be his home or cash or investment portfolio or whatever it may be. And so therefore they work really, really hard not to lose that to the seller, because that's a big hit if they can't pay the piper. Any questions on anything? Okay. Number 12. Business owners should be planning for their own future. The middle part there, business owners are so busy running their company every day, they never seem to have time to plan for the exit in business, but they can't avoid planning for this crucial time in their lives. So the bottom one should start creating an exit strategy early as possible. A couple factors to consider there, like what to do with proceeds from the sale, what investments are available with those proceeds, your rate of return. Is this enough to live on? Because obviously your cash flow from your business will stop when you sell it. You sell a business, the revenue is gone. So the money you have must kind of replace the profits you're making with your business. So those are some factors to consider. And I do one thing I do a good bit with business brokers and business buyers or sellers especially is determine, like, Jane wants to sell her business for X number of dollars. Well, then I'll look at what she could do with that money and her risk tolerance and other factors. And she then can decide, well, that would be enough money for me to retire. Or that would be enough money for me to take a respite till I take another job or create a new business. Because a lot of people don't really look at that. They go through the whole big process with a business broker or themselves selling the business, and they really haven't even looked or studied what they could do with the money or what that money would do for them if they were bringing it in. So 13. So where is that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? Middle section, the pot of gold only be there for businesses that have structure to sell. Easy to read financials, profitable bottom line, key employees in place, growing market, quality products, whole host of other issues. Another thing to look at is a lot of businesses are angled to minimize taxes. So hence they make a profit, they buy equipment, they buy a car, they buy something else to knock down the taxable income, which is fine. You can sometimes claw back that, but also sometimes the prospective buyer will balk, being that they're not seeing the real profit on the tax return and other stuff. So as you get closer to selling it, I would say you want to put more towards the profit side as opposed to knocking down your taxable income and taxable profits. Man, Raul, you're quick, man. You're Johnny on the spot. Okay, what we got? 14. What will I do if I sell the business? So again, many owners are just afraid to sell their business, mainly because they don't know what they'll do afterwards. And whether it's mentally, emotionally ready, financially ready, the timing. So it's a big factor, big decision, and all those factor into when you should put it up for sale or actually sell it. 15. This just deals with the, you can go to the bottom area there. The investment part of it, like if some people want to sell it and have cash, they have money they can put in the market. The section in the middle shows the good and bad times of the investment market, the S&P 500, I think it is. Over time, it's averaged 8 to 10%. So that's roughly what you could look at historically, as far as if you do sell the business and have some cash to put it to work, at a moderate approach. Number 16, at the bottom, you can kind of see the returns, 5-year average. Obviously, the market's been hot. 10-year, 14.8, 20-year, 8.9, 30-year, 9.8. And then you take it away from inflation. Obviously, the number, if you go through now with inflation the way it is, you're probably looking at a real inflation rate about 3 to 4%, based on what the government's saying inflation is. So that's also a factor of what your money's worth, and what you can do with it. Okay, next one, 17. The other side of the situation where with interest rates up, obviously it's a negative for people trying to borrow because it's more expensive. The part where some people want to sell their business, selling point is now you can get pretty good rates of return. Like we broker CDs with banks all over the country. And so we're usually 50, 60 basis points higher than what you're looking at locally. And that would be on guaranteed money. So you're looking 5.20, 5.30, 5.4 on just CDs or treasury bills that you can get on your money. So a lot of people who are selling a lot of cases are near in retirement. And so they're looking to what can they make on their money, without having to take a lot of risk or, go back to work and that sort of thing. So that's the flip side of higher interest rates. You can draw that kind of money risk-free interest on that going forward. So last one is relevant points. So going through them, just a few bullet points I thought I'd throw out there to add to the presentation. Approximately 30 to 40% of businesses listed for sale actually sell. So that's obviously that 60 or 70 don't sell. So just approximation there. Approximately 37% of businesses sell for cash, as I said earlier. Best time to sell your business during a time of strong financial performance now and the future. So if you can paint that picture, it obviously makes it much easier, to get it sold. Most businesses sell, as I said before, approximately 2 to 4x cash flow. Owner financing, approximately 97% of sellers' notes are paid off. As I said before, the reason most buyers will have to put up personal notes, whether it be real estate, home, cash, investment accounts, etc. So there's a very, very good chance, even though a lot of people balk at wanting to do owner financing, sometimes that works to get the deal done because, you can get a buyer. I was working with a lady, had a big sports memorabilia business in Atlanta, and the owner just couldn't get the deal done. He couldn't borrow, etc. And she did there's quite a long financing, 5-year, but she's been paid every month, and that's kind of helped her with her cash flow in life. And then the owners, thankfully, has been successful moving forward with the business. So it can work, even though I know a lot of people don't want to become a bank. Seller financing or owner financing is at least there's a very good chance you get paid. Next, 80-90% success rate if you buy an existing business versus much lower on a new business. So obviously the success rate for a new business is very low, 30-40% first few years. It's even lower than that after 4 to 5, 10 years. Very few businesses are even in business after 10 years, percentage wise. So that's a selling point that you already have a business, you already have customers, you already have maybe a location that people know to come to, etc. 6 to 10 months, typical time to sell a business. Just keep that in mind. So you kind of know the time frame of how long it'll take to get it done. It also depends on how you have your act together. Cleaner the financials. Do you have a key employee who will stay even though you leave? Things like that are always added pluses to get the business sold. Approximately 60% of people sell their business to fund retirement. Next one, number one reason small businesses fail is lack of capital. They don't have they don't have enough cash, they don't have cash flow if they get on lean times, etc., etc. And then current market environment, approximately 10 buyers, everyone's selling. So if you got a good business, there are buyers out there. There's some lucky lose, but there are some quality people that have money and are serious. But it's about 10 to 1 ballpark of buyers versus people that actually have a legitimate business to sell. So that's kind of my presentation. Any questions, good or bad, that we can help you with?
Greg, we got a couple questions here in the chat.
Sure.
We can start with those. So, excuse me. Sheila's asking, why do only 30 to 40% of businesses sell? What happens with the other 60 to 70%? Private sales or just close?
They just don't sell. I mean, it's either the seller gets cold feet, or he doesn't get as much as he wants for it. He or she doesn't get as much as she wants for the business, or the buyer or the price is too low versus what they thought it was worth. Just a varied amount of factors to sell it. Could be real estate involved and which side it's on that. So there's a lot of factors of why it doesn't get sold. The financials weren't clean. Maybe 2 or 3 of the key employees leave, when the owner sells, which scares the buyer, just various factors. Does that answer her question? Oh, she texted it to you or whatever.
Yeah, she can either unmute herself, let us know, or Sheila, you want to just let us know in the chat that answered your question. We're happy to go deeper on anything here. We're going to move to the next question for now. Rahul's asking, what is the scale of businesses you are referring to when you say 2 to 4x of cash flow? At what size, if a business, do you move from SDE to an EBITDA multiple?
Second one's tough. It just depends on how they do their books and, what the buyer kind of wants to see on the EBITDA or the other. Usually cash flow is what they go with, which is kind of paying all the debt, paying the new person to come in, and then what's left is usually a barometer they go off of. And what was the first part of that question?
What scale of businesses are you referring to when you say 2 to 4x cash flow?
It's all relative. I mean, you could have a business that sells for 250. You could have a business that sells for 5 million. It's still the cash flow that is generating, after expenses and debt, et cetera. So it just depends on, it doesn't really matter on the size. It's still the profit or, the cash flow coming in.
Pretty standard there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have another question from Wade. He says, where is the best place to list a business for sale?
I mean, a lot of it I do, there's obviously online things you can do it yourself. I mean, I use and work with a lot of, business brokers. Obviously they charge a fee if they sell it, but, doing this is sometimes a lot easier than, selling your car on Facebook or, putting a sign out in your driveway. So, I mean, they obviously charge a fee, but there's a lot of work to be done. They can get it out to a lot of people. They can get it out to some people that have the money, cash to get the deal done. So, I mean, that's what I recommend. You can check yourself whether it's worth paying someone or doing the work yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a trade-off like anything else is. You can pay a roofer or you can get up on your roof and put your own on.
Any other questions for Greg? Anybody thinking about selling their business right now, or just kind of think about the future here?
Yeah, I'm looking, hopefully in like the next 2 years is kind of what I was planning on, but realistically 2 to 5 is what I was hoping for. So
Awesome.
Cool. Well, yeah, you got time to prep, and like I said, the better you can have it prepped and clean and whatever, the better price you get, and the cleaner the process and less stressful, and usually you get a much more quality buyer also.
okay. And then if we were going to go through a broker or like you said yourself, is there a company or a contact for your company to or for you yourself to be able to assist with that and charge that fee?
Well, I handle the financial end on things. I just have a lot of experience in this. I mean, I have some trusted advisors that I've worked with that sell, that are licensed business brokers. So I'm glad to give you a couple names who I would feel are quality and people that have been in it a while. And then you can vet them and you just kind of take the ball from there. I usually, like I said, work with them on the front of that. I've had some clients that have sold businesses, so I've directed them that way. And also I work with the business broker a lot on the front end because it's quite a bit of work, as I've relayed to you all. I'll go over with them the prospective seller, like, here's what they're saying your business will bring in 500 grand. Well, here's what you could do with 500 grand. So they understand what they can make on that money. As I said, to replace the cash flow they got from selling their business, or do something with that money till they buy another business, or, where they're going to retire. As I showed you in the slide, a large percentage of people sell their business to retire, and they need money besides Social Security or some other things, because that's a big part of their net worth. I think one of the earlier slides was, I forget now, 70-80% of their net worth, a lot, is tied up in people's business, which can be good and bad. It's a double-edged sword, but I usually advise them on that part of it. But glad to give you some names if when you want to reach out to me, or you can email me or call me, and I'm glad to get you some quality people, no strings attached. And then, good question though.
Any other questions so far? know, for many, it's something that you're thinking about. It's probably much further down the line in your mind. But like Greg said, one of the big things is preparing, because we don't know what's around the corner, right? So many different situations arise. That being said, if you can we give Greg a hand, even if it's a silent hand? Yeah, thank you, Greg, for that.
Oh, well, thank Raul
Yeah.
and SBDC. They do a good job. I wish more business owners and people in the community would use the service.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're here, guys. Greg is here. I'll be sending an email out to everybody that was in attendance today of recording of the video and some more information as well. But if you want to get down some free consulting, either initial consulting, you haven't done it with us yet before, you can follow the link in the chat there, and I'll drop another one real quick in a moment here. If you're in our system already, you just want a follow-up appointment, you'll follow the second link here. But other than that, any other questions, last minute questions, anything about anything at the moment that you think might be relevant for Greg here? Any comments, questions?
No questions, but thank you very much for your time. Appreciate the presentation.
Awesome.
You're
Right,
welcome,
so-
sir.
So we will go ahead and conclude this here today, and we'll look out for the next time that we're out there, guys, and getting some good information to y'all. So appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. Take